A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In our previous lecture, we had commenced with the practical steps, and we were discussing and learning about a suggested crisis management organization. And to study the crisis management organization, we had started from the highest level as to how it should be organized. We had completed the organization or its component which must exist at national level. And then we said, we'll trickle down right up to the spot or the boundaries, keeping in view various geographical terrain features. Today, we'll come a step down in our administrative organization. In Pakistan, we have the provinces. We'll not go into a very separate or different kind of organization at provincial level, because provincial governments also have almost the same setup, the same organization, their own authority and jurisdiction. So, it would be enough to say that almost the same organization will suffice at provincial level as far as its headquarters are concerned. So, there is no change in the components of the organization at national level and at provincial level. Well, after that, we have another administrative level, and let's call it a divisional level. The divisional level, it comprises certain districts and areas, and there, of course, the resources of a division, they will be available for us, and to utilize them to our best possible level, we should be able to know them, locate them, coordinate them, and ultimately have them on the spot in a usable and fit condition. So if you look towards the slide, it says divisional level or geographical level organization. The division, as I told you, it's a cluster of districts. Geographic also I had separately touched upon. A geographic means, once again, that we have totally hilly area in our northern areas. And that terrain, the geographic features of that very terrain, they're absolutely different than the plains of Punjab. So, the resources that exist with us in Punjab or in plains or in deserts, they'll not be of much utility as far as the mountainous terrain or the semi-mountainous terrain is concerned. We have the snowbound mountain peaks, we have the roof of the world, the highest mountain peaks in our northern areas. Likewise, if we go to the desert belt, it has got a different geographic features and characteristics. So if we need to do something over there, assuming or anticipating the crisis which we can come across in these areas, they'll be probably having some similarities which are usually very common, but most of the characteristics would differ again from the Punjab, from the plateau-like areas in Balochistan, from the semi-mountainous terrain in NWFP, or for that matter, the mountainous terrain. So we can have the boundaries also, assumed boundaries, only for crisis management purposes. So whatever, it's a divisional level, or we have chalked out some organization and some plans to take care of the crisis, keeping in view particular geographic specifications, characteristics, and conditions, what all possibly we must have at our disposal in order to manage the crisis whenever they occur in a successful and pleasant manner. Look towards the slide. Number one, like every other component, we have the headquarters. Now remember, dear students, headquarters virtually, as I said, they are the culminating point and the dishing out point. They have the control and they can coordinate all efforts, and the records are maintained with them. They can provide the guidelines and they can control various situations also. So no organization is successful without an effective and very well organized and well managed headquarters. So at this level also, we must have a headquarters, and the headquarters will have the same characteristics or capabilities that we talked when we were discussing the headquarters at national level. So here, I don't think more explanation is required. After the headquarters, what all other components are essentially required to form part of the crisis management organization at this level, that's divisional or geographic level, which we are studying. See the slide. It says coordination team, vertical and horizontal coordination. Well, partially I have been explaining these things to give you a lead so that you understand these terminologies comfortably ultimately. Now I gave you the example of horizontal. ये horizontal क्या होता है? Horizontal ये होता है कि आप एक लेवल पे बैठे हुए हैं. For example, let's say you are a coordinating officer at divisional level. So जितने हम डिपार्टमेंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, जिनको हमारे साथ मुंसलिक होना होता है या जिनका ताल्लुक़ हमारे साथ होना होता है, जो लेवल आपका है, आप उसी लेवल के सारे लोगों के साथ इन कोऑर्डिनेशन रहेंगे. Not with the higher authorities and not with the standard or the level lower than your level. So ये हॉरिजॉन्टल है. हॉरिजॉन्टल का मकसद फिर ये हुआ कि जितने भी हमारे डिपार्टमेंट्स या कंपोनेंट्स उस क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में मौजूद हैं या हमने उनको यूज़ किया है, उन सब के उस लेवल पे जो आपका अपना लेवल है, आप पूरी कोऑर्डिनेशन करते हैं. यू डोंट रेज द लेवल. नाउ वी कम टू द वर्टिकल लेवल. व्हाट्स वर्टिकल लेवल? वर्टिकल को हम उर्दू में अमूदी कहते हैं. अमूदी सतह का मतलब ये होता है कि यू राइज अप. जो आपसे सीनियर लोग हैं, जिनकी हायर पोजीशंस हैं या ऊपर हायर डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, उनके साथ भी कोऑर्डिनेशन करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. सो वी मस्ट हैव अ टीम which should be capable of carrying out in time and on time coordination at horizontal level as well as vertical level. And we'll term it as coordination team. But these two levels you must remember. Let's see the next point. It says resource management team. This is very, very important. Of course, everything is important, but now the word resource management. Now, resource management का मतलब ये है कि वो तमाम वसाइल जिनको अमली तौर से आपने मुजव्वज़ा या जो बहरान दरपेश है उस पर काबू पाने के लिए जिनको इस्तेमाल करना है, वो सारे वसाइल उनको मैनेज करना. देखिए, एक हेडक्वार्टर जब आपका होगा तो उस हेडक्वार्टर के पास इम्प्लीमेंटेशनल या ऑपरेशनल लेवल की शायद कोई भी चीज़ नहीं होगी. इन द हेडक्वार्टर इटसेल्फ वी हैव टू मैनेज दीज थिंग्स फ्रॉम समवेयर. और वो कहाँ से हम मैनेज करेंगे? we'll manage them from the concerned departments, or if some special requirement is there, then we may have to procure it from somewhere. We may have to make certain purchases which should be well before time. For example, we need a firefighting vehicle. Now somebody has to be in coordination with that department in order to ensure the availability of one or the required number of firefighting vehicles from somewhere, or definitely is from the concerned department. We need paramedical staff. We need ambulances, for that matter, to evacuate certain people from the point of crisis where the loss of life has occurred or serious injuries have occurred. We don't have all these things with us. Now there, the concerned health department, they have emergency services, and when we have organized this organization, probably they'll keep a number of ambulances marked for this particular purpose, and they'll be readily available, but somebody has to manage it. अगर हमारे इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कोई ऐसी फैसिलिटी नहीं होगी जो इन लोगों तक पहुंच सके, obviously round the clock they are not with you, at your disposal. You have to manage them. You have to keep ensuring that they are available whatever is your requirement. So that's what we call is resources. Resources की जब हम बात करते हैं तो आप अपने जहन में एक बात बिठा लीजिए and just assume, just have brainstorming, just start thinking, God forbid, a train accident. If it has occurred, your mind also will be able to tell you what all services you would be needing. And all those services will not be available to you on time unless we have a proper organization or a cell or a wing or a department that stays in touch with them, keeps them ready, keeps ensuring that, God forbid, whenever the crisis occurs, these people will be available to us on required time, at a required place, and in required quantity or quantum. So if that is not done, probably things will become difficult, because crises never come by knocking at your door. They always come suddenly, uninformed, unexpectedly, impromptu, which we have been talking throughout our course. So this team now is very, very essentially required at practical level. Remember that we are now traveling and trickling down to the real practical levels. Let's see the next point. It says operation team. What's operation team. This is that team which has to watch, which has to keep an eye on the operation going on wherever the crisis have occurred. और इनका उस वक्त ही रोल इफेक्टिव होगा जब सारे वसाइल वहाँ मौजूद हैं और वो काम कर रहे हैं. Their job is to see and watch their performance, their capability. How are they operating? Is there some modification required? Is there some subtraction required? Some addition is required? Some area is very weak where more attention is required. तो ये लोग अब इस लिहाज से कि जिस जगह पे God forbid we are managing the crisis, जिस जगह पे हम मौका के ऊपर जिन चीज़ों को मैनेज कर रहे हैं, ये उस मौका के ऊपर ही आंख रखते हैं. And their job is not to practically get involved. They are the managers. They are not the workers. They are not the doers. If they practically get entangled, then they'll not be doing their job. ये सिर्फ उन सारे प्रोसेसेस को बहरान में और क्राइसिस में we have studied, कोई एक प्रोसेस नहीं होता, कोई एक डायमेंशन नहीं होती. There are hundreds of dimensions, visible and invisible, and they all have to be managed, and they all have specialists of their own fields. इतने सारे लोगों की एफिशिएंसी को वॉच करना with a view to assist and ensure to meet the requirement which exists prevails, to ensure that the circumstances really get transformed into our manager's desired direction. So that's what they are directly concerned with the ongoing operation. This is the bottom line. कि जो ऑपरेशन आप कर रहे हैं, जहाँ कहीं भी you are trying to manage the crisis, जब बहरान पे काबू पाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, ये उस एक मखसूस वाक़या, उस एक इंसिडेंट को वॉच कर रहे होते हैं, मैनेज करने के लिए जो जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स होती हैं उनकी एफिशिएंसी देख रहे होते हैं. देन their feedback or their dissemination of information simultaneously keeps going to the levels or the resources which are required or where some deficiency or modification or addition, subtraction is required. That's it as far as the operation team is concerned. I'll not go into more details. We still have to study a lot and go ahead with many more things. Let's see the next thing. Media management team. Now, dear students, remember, media, it's very difficult to say whether it's part of your crisis management organization or otherwise. Media, but has a very, very vital role to play. And obviously, as we talked, they need information. And they expect that this information will be provided to them by someone which will be authentic, reliable, based on factual knowledge, and then they'll be able to feed the masses or the common people. But if they don't get any guidance, if they don't get any feedback, if they don't get the authentic information from the concerned source, certainly they'll resort to assumptions. And assumptions are never good as far as the crisis management are concerned. Assumptions can in fact enhance the level of crisis and add more to the crisis rather than overcoming them successfully. We have a separate lecture how to deal with the media. But here, as far as the organization is concerned, you have a team of specialists who know what media is, who know how media is fed, who know how information is disseminated to them, right information at the right time, on need-to-know basis, and no exaggeраtions. In this team, you can also incorporate certain media people as well. You can also have meetings with them from time to time, even when there are no crises, so that you all are on the same frequency. And when the time for test comes, then it doesn't take time for you to decide what way to go. Probably you will be able to manage the media affairs very successfully if you have your own little wing or small department, and if you have the members of the media sources which exist in the nation or in the country or the area wherever you are. So that thirst must not be left. And when I say media, it includes the print media as well as the electronic media. And take care all the sources pertaining to media. Don't restrict yourself with a narrow vision only to one or two particular sources or particular types of dissemination of information. Since we'll discuss it in detail in our coming lectures, therefore, let's see what's next for us. On the scene of occurrence. Now remember, here we are now exactly in that area or on that spot or that place where the crisis have occurred. And when we talk about the operation team watching this whole situation, now here also we need to have a person or a small skeleton sort of organization which should practically manage and practically watch the performance of those who are implementing all the plans and instructions that have been administered to them, that have been passed to them. Because this is the place from where you are going to get the output. If the things are not well coordinated and it becomes a hustle-bustle affair and the chaos prevails, then the things will not be managed the way they should have been managed. So the coordination of all these resources and their best utilization without hindering each other, without overtaxing each other, without creating confusions, obstacles, and problems for the fellow services who all are committed here. Remember, on any accidental sort of crisis, let's assume, there'll be 101 departments or forces working for that. You have people to maintain law and order. You have people to give first aid to the wounded. You have people to evacuate them to the hospital. Simultaneously, you have the firefighting department working for their own things. You have all those things which can occur, a team for that or some people working for that. Whenever such like unfortunate incidents occur, many things happen on the scene of occurrence. Looting for that matter, or making use of the opportunity, and with very, very small vision, narrow-mindedness, illiteracy or unawareness, people indulge in undesirable activities. So somebody looking after them also. Then overcoming the chaos, the fear, the harassment which has occurred on the scene. Evacuation. Traffic problems will be created. There may be blockades. So all these people, when they are working together, there is all the likelihood that some problems can come up, and they do come up. So here we have to ensure that we have the arrangements to ensure that the operation at practical level all goes well, it goes smoothly, all resources are managed and they are not hindered to perform their job. If they are hindered, then certainly there will be some problem. And sometimes, since it's a chain reaction, sometimes when one single ring gets loose, it affects the whole chain. So that's what the job of this team is. They have their own person in addition to the operations team who ensures that all services freely and smoothly perform their desired or their assigned task. Let's see what next is for us on the screen. It says local support. Well, it appears to be a very simple word, but it's not all that simple also. Remember, we said local support. जहाँ कहीं बहरान का वजूद होता है, जहाँ कहीं क्राइसिस क्रिएट होती हैं, वहाँ बहुत से लोग भी होते हैं. There are certain people, there are certain organizations, there are certain setups which do have sympathetic attitude, which do have humanistic face also. उनमें बहुत से लोग, बहुत सी तंजीमें ऐसी भी होती हैं जिनको बहरान की शिद्दत और उसके नुकसानात का भी पूरा अंदाज़ा होता है. उनके अंदर इंसानियत भी होती है और उनके अंदर ऐसी सूरत हालात पर काबू पाने के लिए उनके सीने में जज्बात भी होते हैं और हमदर्दियाँ भी होती हैं. I want to make one thing clear over here. Dear students, no government in the universe, in any country, can single-handedly overcome all the crises and all the problems. शायद दुनिया में कहीं भी कोई हुकूमत तन्हा सारे बहरानों से और मसाइल से निमटने के काबिल नहीं होती. Unless the public support and the public participation is there. And there are classic examples in the history where the public support and the volunteer participation of the local support or the people, they overcame gigantic level crises which were otherwise seen as unmanageable crises. अगर कहीं थोड़ी सी आग लग गई है, लेट्स से, आपके साथ बेशुमार लोग वहाँ मौजूद होते हैं जो आपको छोटे छोटे एरियाज में हेल्प करने के लिए वहाँ they can come, they can join you, they can support you. But here, it's a very sensitive affair also. ये याद रखिए कि इस चीज़ों को पहले से जब हम प्लानिंग पे आएंगे तो फिर आपसे बात करेंगे. ये सारी चीज़ें हमने पहले से प्लान की हुई थी कि किस एरिया में क्या क्या ऐसी सर्विसेज हैं पब्लिक सपोर्ट की, कौन कौन से ऐसे लोग हैं who can always come for our help purely on humanitarian grounds or love for the nation, love for the people, love for the country, or as good humans. सो अगर एक छोटी सी जगह पे आग नमूदार हो जाती है, नज़र आती है, लगी हुई है, तो बहुत सारे ऐसे नेबर्स या बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग, शॉपकीपर्स एक्सेट्रा, वो सारे इकट्ठे हो जाते हैं एंड दे ट्राई टू हेल्प यू। वेल, इसका एक और पहलू भी आपने मद्देनजर रखना है, विच इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू। अगर इस तरह की बहुत सारी जज्बाती हमदर्दियाँ इकट्ठी हो जाएं तो वो उनके खुलूस में तो शक नहीं होता, लेकिन in the absence of management, they will become a source of trouble for you. लेकिन यहाँ ये this is a hairline difference you have to understand. They want to help you. They want to join hands with you. They want to really participate with the idea of earning some virtue, or purely with the idea of patriotism, or purely with a humanistic face or approach. Lekin, remember that they are not well-trained people. They are not working under any organization which tells them to operate within a set code of rules and a direction and a corridor. So, ऐसी सूरत में they'll probably get converted into an unmanageable mob. You will have another problem. बेहतर ये होता है कि जब आप अपनी मनसूबाबंदी के लेवल पे होते हैं, when you are in the planning phase, तो उस प्लानिंग फेज में ही वहाँ पर्टिकुलर एरियाज जिनको आप पोटेंशियल एरियाज फॉर क्राइसिस एज्यूम करते हैं या देखते हैं, or you consider them as some kind of crisis can occur here, seeing, of course, the nature of life, the nature of resources, the nature of lifestyle, the nature of industrial complex or the existing industry over there, या जो एक्टिविटीज बिजनेस की हैं, कुछ भी है, आपको नजर आ जाता है कि यहाँ पर something can go wrong sometime and its possible nature can be like this. So, उसी लिहाज से फिर वहाँ के मकामी वसाइल जो किसी तरीके से आपकी अथॉरिटी में तो नहीं है, बट दे कैन बी वॉलंटरली ऑफ ग्रेट यूज टू यू, उनसे पहले से ही राब्ता करके एक प्लान ऑफ एक्शन हमारे पास मौजूद होना चाहिए, बिकॉज एट द नेक ऑफ द टाइम it's very difficult to control such like emotional people who are charged with very, very strong emotions. But on the other hand, as I said, use the resources with the people, with the citizens, with the public. They also are our own resources, and there's no dearth of people who really voluntarily want to help to overcome the crisis wherever they occur. But only one word, they have to be managed. And if they're not managed, then rather than assistance, they are source of another problem for you. This is as far as the local support is concerned. And here we come to the end of our organizational character or components as far as the divisional level organization is concerned. Let's now come down to another level as we are coming according to a sequence. Our next administrative level in our beloved country is district and then the tehsil level. We'll take them together. Just look towards the slide. It says at district / tehsil level. Both these levels, just to save time, we are considering them together. And we'll not spend a lot of time on this because now you have an idea how the features of this organization would be. So here we start from the first point again. It says the headquarters. And remember, the size of the headquarters will keep reducing, but the component of headquarter will not be eliminated. आपको हर जगह पे एक हेडक्वार्टर्स की ज़रूरत होती है, सिर्फ उसका साइज छोटा होता जाता है, उस लेवल के मुताबिक होता जाता है, क्योंकि एक हेडक्वार्टर क्रिएट करने में भी you require tremendous resources. Maybe for this kind of organization, we use already existing building which is not being fully utilized or fully used, and it has the space to accommodate our headquarters. Headquarters doesn't mean that it has to be a very great plaza or it has to be scarce of lands. No, it can be at this level, even 2-3 rooms probably, equipped of course with the equipment for good communication, for good coordination, for staying in touch with media, etc. That would suffice. So, हर चीज़ को जब हम बात करते हैं, बाज़ औक़ात ऐसा होता है कि कुछ लफ्ज़ों का तसव्वुर हमारे जहन में इतना बड़ा होता है कि हम उसमें परेशान हो जाते हैं कि हेडक्वार्टर्स का मतलब पता नहीं क्या होगा, कि क्या बड़ा इसमें होगी. ऐसी बात नहीं होती. रियलिस्टिकली चीज़ों को देखना शुरू करें. In the previous wars, or even today's wars, when people are on the battlefield and they establish their headquarters, probably the things function from a vehicle or they function from a tent or maybe under some trees, etc. There can be no worse crisis than a war. What's important is your capability to deliver the goods, your capability to function smoothly and successfully. So ज़्यादा ज़ोर पम्प एंड शो की जानिब, बहुत सारी कंफर्ट और फैसिलिटीज़, पर्सनल फैसिलिटीज़ की जानिब नहीं होना चाहिए, बल्कि परफॉर्मेंस और एफिशिएंसी की तरफ होना चाहिए. So here also we have a headquarter so that all the coordination is done, all the control is gained with one segment, with one department who is in a position to coordinate and collate and guide, control, supervise and equip everyone whosoever is involved in the process of crisis management. Now after the headquarters, what else we have? We first of all have the district government. Now here we have involved the district government. Remember that now the district government has almost all resources at its disposal. Whatever is available in the district or in the tehsil, they have all those facilities which are there in a district and which are required to manage various unfortunate situations. So first of all, if we have their representatives who will be able to coordinate and provide us the assistance at the required time, then it will all the more become a very, very extended aid to successful performance of our job. What's the second point? It says representatives of allied departments. Now allied departments क्या हैं? वो तमाम महकमा जात जिनकी आपको ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है, जिनकी किसी किस्म की क्राइसिस में भी आपको ज़रूरत पड़ती है, उसको हम एलाइड डिपार्टमेंट कहते हैं. जैसे हम बहुत सारे महकमा जात का पहले भी थोड़ा सा तज़किरा कर चुके हैं, लेकिन इसके बाद हम आएंगे और पॉसिबली एग्जांपल्स थोड़ी सी आपको बताएंगे कि कौन कौन से डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं जिनसे हमको कोऑर्डिनेशन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, और इसके लिए उसी डिपार्टमेंट के नुमाइंदे आपके पास होना चाहिए. बिकॉज the coordination and provision of resources will be much easier and comfortable if you have representatives of their own concerned departments. देखें, कोई किसी दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट का या किसी दूसरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के शख्स को अगर वैसे ही आप किसी की तरफ भेजेंगे कि जाइए आप ये लेके आएं और कोऑर्डिनेट करें, it will not happen. Organizations have their own ego also. They have their own principles. They have their own rules. They have their own procedures. They have their own internal methods to deal with the things. So, कोई शख्स उन पे ठूंस नहीं सकता. It's better that you have one person from that department, and this person knows each and everything about his organization. He knows the organizational procedures, he knows the quantum or quantity or level of resources available, and he knows when the need occurs, first talk to whom and how to get the permission and from where to pull out the resources and provide to the crisis management team. So your job is over. Otherwise, आप अगर हर महकमे के लिए एक आदमी को ट्रेन करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो शायद it will take years together, and yet your job will remain incomplete, undone, and not foolproof. Arrangements will be foolproof when you have an effective, well-knowing, experienced, willing, and committed representative of our department. So, जो महकमा जात क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट के लिए या एक बहरान पर काबू पाने के लिए शामिल हो सकते हैं या जिनकी ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है, उनका ही आप एक एक नुमाइंदा रखें और उनके जो वसाइल हासिल करने हैं वो उसी की जिम्मेदारी रखें. Once the resources are available, then of course, as we have chalked out the plan, we have the operation team, we have the watch people, we have the coordinators, they all will be able to do and use them the way their best utility has been worked out or is there. Let's see. Departments की हमने बात की, तो what departments possibly can be there? For example, we have police is one department which is directly or indirectly probably requirement of every kind of crisis that can occur, because law and order is their first requirement, and that's the business of police. Legal requirements and legalistic way to do with so many things, because there'll be many legal aspects also when we go for such kind of things. So we must have a mattering police representative in our organization. Mattering police representative मैंने इसलिए कहा कि एक ऐसा नुमाइंदा जिसकी एक अपनी अथॉरिटी भी हो और उसे पूरा इल्म भी हो, and he is effective enough to create and pool up the resources and mark them for the crisis management organization and make them available at the time when we require them, because we will not be given any time by the crisis. It has to be a switch on like operation, and slackness is going to create lot of difficulties for us. So ये एक महकमा हो गया. दूसरा महकमा, firefighting. Even if it's not a fire case, let's say, there are chances. You can always imagine there are always naughty people. There are always undesirable people also, जो एक तरह के बहरान को दूसरे में कन्वर्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, उसको एक्सपेंड करने की कोशिश करते हैं, और आग हादसतन भी लग सकती है. Even when you are operating for something else, it can happen. So have a man from the firefighting department who should be having his own plan कि जनाब फलां जगह पे जो हमने प्लान किया है कि ऐसी ऐसी पॉसिबिलिटीज़ हैं, ये probabilities हैं, God forbid if crisis occur over there, then हमारी गाड़ियाँ फलां जगह से आपको अवेलेबल होंगी, इतनी तादाद में अवेलेबल होंगी, वो 8 मील के फासले पर लोकेटेड हैं और वो 8 मील का फासला उनको 4 घंटों में तय करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि रास्ते में ये मसाइल हैं. एंड देन द स्टाफ विल बी रेडी बट दे हैव टू गिवन half an hour's notice and they have to come over there etc etc. ये सारी चीज़ें उसका काम है क्योंकि ये आप sitting in the headquarters, you cannot do these things. You are a coordinator and controller. These are those services which are very, very essential and we can't really do away with them and perform our job in crisis management. Let's see what's the next. Rescue services. Now, rescue is a very big requirement. You see, crises always come to bother and hurt the human being. That's why they're crisis. हर बहरान का, क्राइसिस का पहला और शायद वाहिद टारगेट इंसान ही है. और crisis other than the climatic, natural, whatever, उसी को ही अफेक्ट करती हैं और जब वो क्राइसिस नेचुरल वाली भी आती हैं तो वो भी उसी को ही अफेक्ट करती हैं. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, what is the priority when we are managing certain crises? The first priority is saving the lives of the people. And rest, everything falls to the next steps of priorities. So, rescue का मतलब ये है कि उस मखसूस मौका से if we are fearing, if we have injured or fatal casualties, who is going to evacuate them? We have the departments, those who do this system. We have the health departments, and we have other departments also who can help us in this regard. तो यहाँ उनका नुमाइंदा अगर होगा तो he is the person who can create, manage the resources according to the requirement. जो पहले से हमने प्लान किया है वो, या जो पहले से हमने प्लान नहीं किया था वो भी, he is the best person to do this job and deliver the goods. अगर एक ऐसा आदमी जो उस डिपार्टमेंट से ताल्लुक़ नहीं रखता और उसकी ये स्पेशलिटी भी नहीं है, उसको हम अपॉइंट कर देंगे, no matter whatever facilities we try to give him, he will not be able to perform as effectively as this person will be able to do. Let's see what's next. Hospitals. You see, usually you must have seen it, you must have observed it when something goes wrong and people are to be treated in the hospitals. We exactly don't know when the crisis occur right at the beginning as to what will be the number of the people who would require hospital treatment. So आपने कई दफ़ा देखा होगा कि जब भी खुदा न खास्ता कोई बड़ा हादसा होता है तो फौरी तौर से एक खबर आप पढ़ते हैं कि अस्पतालों में इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर कर दी जाती है. Now, emergency declaration is an appropriate step, of course, but that also involves many ifs and buts. It's not a very simple affair. Hospital is one word, but hospital also has many branches, many departments to deal with in order to provide their services effectively. Their transport is controlled by somebody else, by a department. medicines controlled by another person, staff controlled by another department, emergency things by some other department. So there's also a proper organization which has many branches or many components, and unless their coordination exists at that level, then you will not be able to get the appropriate assistance which you require from them. So it's always better to have a very senior and effective, capable, competent, and a mentoring person from the hospital's organization or health department. We'll come to that also. But a person who can provide you the required assistance. अब उसको ये पता होगा, जो भी शख्स इसके जिम्मेदार होंगे, कि गॉड फॉरबिड अगर इतने लोगों के लिए मुझे क्रिएट करना पड़े हेल्थ एड और इमरजेंसी असिस्टेंस और ट्रीटमेंट, तो मुझे क्या चाहिए, हाउ मैनी एम्बुलेंसेस, what kind of medicines, how many medicines, how much I have, how much I can procure. And still, if the need is not being overcome, still, if the need is not being met, then what to do? Maybe bring it in the notice of somebody. Tell the competent authority to arrange for those things. अब ये सारा काम अगर यही ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करेगी, crisis management organization, they'll be overloaded and they'll be ignorant of all these steps and all these coordinations and things, of which a man really involved, having experience, having his own authority also to an extent, to a level, he can operate it in the best way. So, don't leave it to laymen. And you should maintain a data, which I said, in your headquarters. वहाँ आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपके पास इतने हॉस्पिटल्स हैं, किस हॉस्पिटल में क्या क्या, कितने बेड्स, कितनी एम्बुलेंसेस, कितने वार्ड्स, क्या स्पेशलिटीज़, हाउ मैनी डॉक्टर्स, पैरा स्टाफ कितना, और वो किस हद तक हमें अकोमोडेट कर सकते हैं. They should not be overloaded also. That is also be kept in mind. This is the job of the headquarter, to watch these things and those who coordinate. And this is the job of the representative of the concerned department to bring it to the notice of crisis management organizations headquarter, to give them the true picture that haves and have nots. ये हमारे पास मौजूद है और ये हमारे पास मौजूद नहीं है. We can manage the things up to this level, and we cannot manage the things beyond that. Last of all, traffic management. You know, traffic management is a very serious problem at that time. People try to rush out, rush in, or move away. And then, ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि आपकी एम्बुलेंस को कई घंटों तक रास्ता नहीं मिलता. So this traffic plan has to be properly chalked out. और इसमें ये सारे अल्टरनेटिव सोचे जाते हैं कि खुदा न खास्ता ऐसा हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, ये रूट ब्लॉक हो गया तो कौन सा रूट यूज़ करेंगे, यहाँ पर ऐसा हो गया तो what. If this happens, what will we do? We'll come to that and discuss that when we are coming to the plans. But today we have discussed the organization at divisional or geographic level, and then we have come to the district or the tehsil level, which is almost the lowest level that we have. And we have talked what could be a possibly suggested organization at these levels. Dear students, inshallah, in our next lecture, we'll continue for practical things, and we'll talk further about very, very important features of crisis management. For this lecture, with all my best wishes, like always, I say you, Khuda Hafiz.